Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again. TGIF, you made it through another week. It's Friday. Boy, they go quick, don't they? I just came back from the barber shop where I had my ears lowered. You don't hear that anymore, right? Anyway, we got a couple projects downstairs. It looks like a beautiful day. A hint of rain in the air, but I love that. So let's go downstairs, see what we got. Okay, now through the channel, I've met up with a bunch of really great people, that started off as subscribers, became real good friends. And one of them is a guy by the name of Joe. He goes by the name of Trader Joe's in the comments section. And you'll know Joe is Charlie the Wonder Dog's owner. And Joe, I met up with him at Jacktown, the show, and Joe, somebody is moving, just like it was a few years ago on my channel. If I remember, I found a bunch of tools. Well, sometimes when people move, they start throwing stuff out, and the closer they get to the moving date, the better the stuff becomes that you find in their garbage. And Joe is finding some really good stuff. This guy was a tool guy, apparently, and he's throwing out a lot of tools. Anyway, Joe donated a lot of stuff to the channel, but he also had some things that he wanted to introduce to the channel and get our thoughts on, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so here are two tools that Joe wanted to throw in for conversation, and you know something, like I said, he donated a lot of tools to the show, so I really wanted to do these up nice for him. Now, one you'll recognize, another YouTuber by the name of Hand Tool Rescue, puts out these tools. He makes them, and I guess he sends them out to a shop and has them made. I wanted to distinguish the two. It's a copy of a King Dick wrench, which is right here. And you can see they're almost identical, except for a few minor things that we'll pick out later on. If you notice here, like, we were talking about the grinds and stuff. Here, this is the Abington, or King Dick one. And you'll see that they don't do too much of a grind. Here is an attempted grind, but if you notice, it's a little bit, do you notice, like, a little bit of a offset to one side or whatever. But the only thing is, this is this is brand new, never used. Joe waited a few months to get the wrench, but there's some kind of, now you can see the finish on here, and I don't know what type of finish that is, but so we're just going to go over this real quick. And let me show you one other thing about this that you might find interesting. Now, here the wrench is apart, and you can see here. Now, this, again, is a copy, and this is an easy wrench to make. I'm sure that's why they went with reproducing this one, because if you ever remember Billings made this wrench for 1 year, and they realized the weakness of the design because you have an open end here. See, if this was closed on both sides, it's a much stronger wrench, but by having it open, now you have that weak spot. But it's an easier wrench to make because you just take the cutter and you slide it right down here, whereas if it's open, it's a little more difficult to machine. However, here's the big thing I want to show you here. If you look at the two top pieces here, if you notice the threads, now you see the threads, the difference in the two threads. Now remember, I was telling you the other day that anytime you see an Acme thread is meant for lateral movement, and you'll always see them on vices, wrenches, things like that, because it not only does it move it quicker, but it's a stronger thread because of the thickness. And over here, this is a standard thread, and this thread is made mostly for when you put a nut on, because it's a V thread, it's made to tighten. So let me show you why when you put this into a tool, what the difference is. Okay, here we have the wrenches back together. I'm going to start with the Abington. I'm going to open it 10 turns. So I'm going to open this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 turns. And you can see that opens it up. It's about 3/8 of an inch here. Okay, now I'm going to use the same wrench here, and I'm going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you can see the difference in the opening here. Now, the difference is it's about half, because the threads are about twice the, so you have to turn this twice as much. For me to open this wrench up, let's say if I want to get it onto 1 inch, I mean, it takes quite a while to open up here. There we go. That's about 1 inch. Whereas if with regular wrenches that have the Acme thread, if you want to open it up, you could see how quickly. So that's one of the reasons why they have a thread. Not just for the fact that it's a stronger thread made for lateral movement, but it just takes a little longer to open. Okay, if you notice, these two wrenches, they look almost identical in finish. It's considered like a OWar Finish or a working man's finish. Now, we won't touch the Abington wrench because we'll leave that as what it looks like before. And then when we come back, we'll be able to compare the two side by side. Okay, real quick story about Charlie the Wonder Dog and why I'm such a fan. We were at Jacktown and with Joe. Joe was walking Charlie. And as we're walking, there's other dogs there. And we're walking down this one lane and there's these two big Mastiffs. And if you don't know what a Mastiff is, they're just huge dogs. And the two of them look at Charlie and they would like started drooling instantly. I was like, uh-oh. So we walked to, gave them a wide berth. And we're walking, me, Joe, and Charlie. And as we passed them, all of a sudden we hear from behind, we hear, watch out. We quick turn around and one of these Mastiffs broke free from his leash or whatever. And he was charging right at Charlie. So Charlie braced down like ready for impact, but Joe pulled Charlie up by the collar and the leash and swung him around. And just then, just like in Jaws, the Mastiff just missed Charlie. And I was like in shock. And so the other guy tried to wrestle the dog down. The dog was, was kind of vicious. So I looked at Charlie. I was like, are you all right? And Charlie's like, I got no time for this. I got no time for drama. And that's when I became a fan of Charlie. So it was pretty intense. Okay, here's just the initial grind. This is before on the hand tool rescue wrench. And this is what's, coming to. This is, again, the initial grind. But you see the softening of the edges. And then we'll get all this softened out. But you see the difference in the not only the appearance, but also the edges and everything. And that's what... That's why it takes longer to do a tool. That's why a lot of companies don't have that kind of time to put into a tool. Now you know my favorite part. Remember what these two wrenches look like before we started. Okay, we're calling the project done. I left this one undone because they looked very similar to start. Now you can see the start and the difference between the beginning and the end. And you can see here, we didn't take it to a mirror polish, but just so that the fingerprints wouldn't show. And look, all the edges, took all the edges. It's buttery smooth. Did a little red in the hand tool rescue. Nice and smooth, all the edges. Everything is just, when you feel this wrench in your hand now, I felt bad because I think Joe was a little disappointed when he got the wrench. It wasn't cheap, I think it was like $45 or so, and it took months to get. But this is the way I guess he was expecting it. So now I think he'll be pretty happy with it. So, Joe, when I see you next at the Long Island show, I'll give this to you. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you all enjoyed this little restoration. And take care. Have a nice day. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.